Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to day 6 of the FIDE Grand Prix 2022. My apologies to everyone here for my delay. I was just trying to fix everything and it got slightly delayed for the stream. But here we are. We're going to have a very exciting day. This is actually the last day for the Indian players in this tournament. The reason is that both of them are not going to be able to make it to the semi-finals. I would just like to show you the standings right now, and that would give you an idea as to who are the players who are going to make it to the semi-finals. So this is the A group right now, and A group रोहित पांडे से झगड़े हो रहा है दोस्तों झगड़े तो होते या वेल झगड़े तो होते रहेंगे. So A group has Hikaru Nakamura at the top. Andre Esipenko is on number 2 spot. Alexander Grishuk is at third, and Etienne Bacro. And the nice thing is that today Nakamura and Esipenko are playing each other. So we are going to see that game as well because one of them will reach the semis. Only one player from each pool. Then in pool B, we have Fedosiev, who is in the lead along with Wojtaszek, and Rapo and Oparin are on 2.5 and 1.5. So here it's a wide open field, mainly because if we see Oparin and Wojtaszek are playing. So if Wojtaszek wins, he would have good chance, and Fedosiev and Rapport are playing. So if Rapport beats Fedosiev, he also has chances. This is a really cutthroat pool B. Going to pool C, this has been the only pool where the winner has already been decided. Levon Aronian, who simply crushed the field with 4 out of 5, and he has made it. Actually, he drew his game, so he's on 4.5 out of 6 now, and he has made it to the semi-finals already. And he will take on the first place in the D group, which we are going to see. But very important for Vidit is that if he beats Vincent Keymer, he will finish second in the group. And finishing second in the group gives you 2 points more. Totally there are 4 points for the second place, 2 points for the third place, and 0 for the fourth. So Vidit, if he beats Vincent, or even if I think he draws, he should be second position because he's already beaten Dubov. And in the pool D, we have Wesley So, who is in the lead, who is playing Pentala Harikrishna, and Dominguez Perez Leinier is taking on Shirov. So this is also a very exciting group because if Harikrishna holds Wesley So and Shirov beats, Dominguez beats Alexei Shirov, then things can go really, really wrong there. So this is why today is very exciting, not just for the Indian players, but also from the qualification perspective. So let's get it rocking, guys. Let's start our today's games. First game that we are going to see is Vidit versus Vincent Keymer. Now, you must see that Vincent Keymer is one of the biggest talents, not just in Germany, but across the world. He's rated 2664 and is, just 2000, if I'm not mistaken, he's 2005 born. So he's just 16 years old, and many dub him as the greatest talent. Actually, it's true. He's the greatest talent that Germany has ever produced since Emanuel Lasker. That's the very nice thing. Let's start with the game. C4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, g3, d5, bishop g2, d4, and this starts to remind us of something. Do you guys remember when was the last time this was played? Can you tell me? There was this very famous, this line was played, but when was this last played? And d4 is a very, very ambitious way to play because somewhere you are moving your same piece again, same pawn again, twice in the opening, not developing a piece. Yes, it was Yan versus Carlsen versus Nepo, Shritu Patel, you're right. and it was very nice because Nepo knew what he was doing then. So d3, knight to c6, castles, bishop c5, knight d2, and now bishop e7. I think there is some difference between the way in which Magnus played and this position has panned out. So what do? We go to our all knowing ChessBase 16 and try to figure out if there was this game that was played. So if you look here, d4 was played. Yeah, here maybe it was slightly different, the move order, but knight c6, castles, bishop c5. Yeah, now we are there. Knight d2 and a5 was played in that game by Magnus. But here Vincent seems to have improved on that game with bishop e7. Right? So this is the small improvement, and it's a novelty. No one has played it before. So you basically say that knight d2 is not the best place for the knight. So I'm ready to lose a move by going backwards. Very interesting concept by Vincent. And he played this very quickly. He plays his openings very fast. You can see he has 1 hour 32 minutes, 2 minutes and 54 seconds more than what he began with. Knight b3. And Vidit says, I'm putting pressure here. Castles. And now, this knight is slightly misplaced. You want to play a3, b4. So what is the move that white should play here to make sense of his setup? White to play. Yashmani Gupta says, after this, do cover Naka Esipenko, as whoever between them wins will qualify. Yes, Yashmani, I already said that. And we will check that game for sure. Dubov Aronian is already draw. Invincible Sunwill. Yes, Supercom, we will do learn from classics very soon. I want to show some games there. And yes, this is a very interesting move that all of you have suggested. E3. We have, by the way, we'll also have a guest joining in today, just so that you know. He's a grandmaster, and also I'll tell you more about it when he joins. Account number 2, Chess is Fun, Aditya, Ram Gopal, Ramineni, Savita Chess, Siddhant Kusurkar, Kajori Gupta, Manan Nath, Dheeraj Reddy, and Vaibhav Dubey. Well done, all of you. The right move here is e3, so that you break in the center, and suddenly these knights make sense because they're putting pressure in the center. So black has to respond by taking. Well, you can play e5. But after take, this pawn could get slightly weakened, and well, Vincent didn't prefer that. So he took here bishop e3, and now knight to g4, just like the game of Carlsen versus Nepo. The only difference is that a5, black has not wasted time in playing a5, and so I'll just show you what happened in Carlsen versus Nepo, so you have a better understanding of this. There a5 was played, then Magnus went knight b3, bishop e7, then e3, de, bishop e3, knight g4, bishop c5, castles. And this is how the game continued with d4. Basically, after a4, bishop e7, queen e7, and this is how the game continued with knight c5. In that, Carlsen versus Nepo was white, Carlsen was black. Now we come back and see what's happening here. He went knight g4, and Vidit said, now I can go bishop c5. Same idea. Take, but there is no a5, and he has actually used that move to castle. So that could be an improvement slightly. He went b6, and now Vidit could have, moved his knight away, attacking the knight on g4, attacking the knight on c6. So let's say knight h4, then this is hanging and this is hanging. What's the right move here, guys? What is the only move for black to maintain balance? Yash Mani Gupta says, but isn't d3 weak after e3? You are right, d3 is slightly weakened, but on the other hand, you can push it to d4. Yes, knight g e5 is correct. Supercom, account number 2. Aditya Ratle, Savite Chess, Shritu Patel. You guys are right. Siddharth Ranadev. You go with your knight here. This knight defends this knight. I'm attacking your knight, so I get some time. d4 is possible, but then maybe take here, take here, take here, bishop a8, b takes c5, and black has compensation for the exchange. This was a possibility. I'm just saying that knight h4 could have been played by Vidit, but Vidit was very calm. He just brought his knight back very coolly. Vincent brought his bishop to b7. You can look at his time. He has 1 hour 33 minutes here. Meanwhile, Vidit has 1 hour 6 minutes. Pawn pushes to d4 right in the center. So your backward pawn is gone now. It is now quite strong. We are looking for d5 break. Rook to b8. Rook e1. Knight goes back to f6. You go knight to c3, again keeping the pieces on the board. Why is white keeping the pieces on the board, guys? Can you tell me? Why is he not exchanging pieces? Yeah, I understand that Esipenko versus Nakamura is very exciting. We'll look at that game next, because whoever wins moves to the semi-finals. That's a big thing. Why isn't white exchanging pieces here and keeping them on the board? Subhajit Sarkar, not for the board. No, not for the win. Yes, roll number 80, he has space. Tizia Kumar, white has space. The main thing is white has more space. You see? I mean, we can talk about psychological points that Vidit wants a win and that's why he's keeping more pieces. But actually, chess-wise, it's also very logical because he has more space. He wants to maintain more pieces. Knight went back to e7 and now came the move knight e5, takes, king takes, and again c6. So Vincent has like 1 hour 31 minutes. He thinks for 4 minutes, could be in his preparation. Maybe he's not now anymore. Queen comes to d3. Now queen to c7. Vidit brings his rook in the center. You see all of Vidit's pieces nicely positioned. Black has to decide how to take the central break. Maybe c5 is one of the ideas. But guys, c5 is not a good move for a very simple reason. Can you tell me what it is? And this you should always keep in mind. Whenever your opponent tries to break with c5, can you make this move is the question. So let me know what you think here. Yes, Tizia Kumar, white is strategically better for sure. Black is slightly cramped. Akshat Tiwari. Yes, and here the move that I was looking for and which you guys have hit right on the nail is the move d5. Fantastic job. Account number 2, Shritu Patel, Savita Chess, roll number 80, Ram Gopal Ramineni, Ankit Gulati, Mistadam, Pratyush Kumar, Ethan David, Srijan Saha. Move here is d5, pushing the pawn, and after, let's say you take, I get a passer, and this, okay, you can argue it's a weakness. I call it a strength. It is moving forward. So firstly, Vincent said, I will bring my rook to d8. Now he's really threatening to go c5. So Vidit played his queen to f3. And Vidit, in a way, again points out that if you play c5, I will go d5 with 1, 2, 3, 4 controls on the d5 square. It's still possible to play that move. So Vincent here keeps his calm and plays his rook to d6. He doesn't want to I think what he wants to do is double the rooks, create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 controls on the d5 square, and eventually push the pawn to c5. That's what his idea is. Or he wants to go knight d7 and exchange that knight. Josuke Uchiha says, why not knight b5? That's also possible after c5. Actually, you're right. I mean, in a way, Vincent could have started here with knight d7. Yeah, it was quite possible. I don't know why he's gone rook d6 because, if you play c5 now, knight b5 will be a fork. So you really can't do it. You have to play a6, then c5, which takes some time. You need to double here. Meanwhile, Vidit can go h4, h5, and he can create some nasty play on the king side. Yes, Abhiram Patarkine, you are right. He can't play c5 just as yet because of knight b5. True. AS says, Sagar, I like to play chess, but sometimes I feel like I'm wasting time as it doesn't add value to my career. Like for you and Sama, it's a source of earning, but for me, no. Yeah, well, true. I mean, you have to decide, you have to take a call for yourself. It's like how my mother used to tell me when I would see cricket when I was young, and she would say to me, you are not going to make a living out of watching this. So go and study. And well, I think watching cricket really helped me in some ways. At least I listened to the commentary a lot of the players, and maybe that helped me to commentate now in chess without any real correlation of the two. But yeah, you never know what helps you when. It's like this famous speech by Steve Jobs where he talks about connecting the dots, where he took these calligraphy classes and then later on that helped him to build fonts for Macintosh, right? And Apple. And you never know going forward what helps you to connect what dots. Okay, so let's come back to this game. Let's look at the game between Esipenko and Nakamura because somewhere it's very interesting. Firstly, Sandeep Deb, thank you so much for becoming a supporter of Indian chess and becoming our first member of today. Thank you so much. So Nakamura beat Esipenko the first time they played and then made a video on YouTube saying that they said he should get my spot, but then I beat him or something like that. He made a video. And today, it's going to be one of the crunch games because Esipenko is on 3 points. Nakamura is on 3.5. Draw means Nakamura goes through, but Esipenko needs to win. So what is the opening choice of Esipenko in such a must-win game? He goes for the Italian. Bishop c5, d3, knight f6, a4, a6, castles, d6, a5. And I think this is a great choice of opening because it keeps the pieces on the board. You want to play a long game of chess. And then they played, right? It was like that guy should have been given my spot. They said they should give Esipenko my spot, and then they played c3. h3 played by Esipenko, h6, bishop e3, rook e8, queen to b3, attacking the pawn here, queen e7, knight d2, rook b8, bishop takes a7, knight takes a7, d4 was played here. And okay, the first question that always should be thought of is something related to tactics. If take take and knight e4. Does that win a free pawn? What is the move here that is winning for white? I want you to be very precise. Don't give me the wrong move because there are two interesting moves here. One is clearly the better one. Let's see if you can spot it. I think tomorrow's day is kept for tie breaks. So in case two players end up with same score, they play a tie break game. I think that's how it is. Yes, this is where I'll get to know how many of you are actually calculating and how many of you are writing on field. So rook e1, all those who are writing this, and I'm going to call out the names of them. This is not the right move. Chess is fun. Aditya Ratle, Shivank. What's in the name? Siddharth Joshi, Darren, Ankit, Bhargav, Josuke. Hey, don't change, don't change. Guys, better move is knight e4, queen e4 and bishop f7. And that is the move given by Arvind Chess, Hassan Imam, account number 2, Vishal, Utpal, Bhanu Pratap, Nitin, Meghash, Nikhil and Savita Chess. So, you know, just it's simple. Take this and get this rook. But if you are natural, first natural instinct is ki rook f1 khelte. It's also better. But okay, then you have to fight like bishop f5. How is it winning? Maybe knight d2 you have to calculate. Well, you have to look at certain moves. But yeah, I would say knight takes e4 was much better. But Hikaru here, instead of taking on d4, I mean, taking on d4 does look not great because take and if you can't take e4, then why to give up your center? So he went knight c6 and actually that is not a good move according to the engines. What should white play here? White to move. Guys, come on. Your chance to try and get an advantage against Hikaru Nakamura. What would you play here? Yes, it was kind of a blunder, you can say, or I wouldn't call it a blunder just because the evaluation changed, but it is a mistake in evaluation. Actually, it's a blunder. Yeah, it's a blunder. No, once again, I don't know. Once again, let's think. So, careful. Yeah, Hikaru is very tricky. So, you might think that he has made a mistake, but actually he might not have. Brilliant. Everyone wants to go d5, but it's much deeper than that. But anyway, d5 is the correct move. Arnav, account, Mamba, Shritu, Aditya, Chess is fun, Aryan, Tizia, Darren and Rishabh Singhvi. You guys are right. But let's go to the board and see. Now I push the pawn to d5. Okay, two moves possible, knight a7 and knight d8. I was on a7. I don't see much future there. But okay, let's go to d8. Now, there is a tactic here. Oh, yes, I can't do that, right? Oof. What's the move here, guys? What's the move? Yes, Brishti Mukherjee, you are right. Brishti is the first one to have spotted this small little nice tactic. Rakshit, Ajay, Manan, Nath, Josuke, the main thing is it's not only about space. It's like a tactical mistake because account number 2, Rishabh Singhvi, Craig Faria, Darren Suchit, you are right. Bishop takes a6. Now, the point is if you take here, I will take your rook. I was actually in my head when I said this yes, no stuff. I was thinking if I can protect my rook like this, then I can take bishop h3. And that could mean that yes, I can next move take this because my rook defends it. But the knight has come in between. So that means knight d8 is definitely a bad move because white simply wins a pawn and there is no compensation. So the other move is knight to a7 here. Now I can take. But Hikaru now has a move in his head, which is, what's the move, guys? Black to play here. Yes, Arnav Kadam, Mamba. You guys are right. The move here is account number 2, Jozuke, Suhas. Suhas, if you take BA6, then I'll just take your rook for free. That doesn't look good. Savita, Brishti, Gaming Sphere, Shivang Yadav, Narendra Pandey, Kiran Jaukar, Shraddha Mehta, Satvik, Nitin Desai. Well done, guys. Bishop takes h3. And now what happens is that, let's say if I take gh3, ba6, and all of a sudden Hikaru is better because he's got back his piece. White king is in tatters. It's a bad position completely. So this is not what's going to happen. Esipenko now can come back and he can tell to himself, hey, the a6 pawn was more important than the h3 pawn. Why? Because now I can push my pawns here and get a passer, while for Hikaru to push here and create play is going to be more difficult. Okay? So, or he can get really greedy here and take this. But the natural question to ask here is, how can he get away with this? Can black not simply win a piece with bishop c8? What's the move here, guys? Try to tell me. What is the only move in which white can save himself? Yes, Yash Mani Gupta. That's the right move. You just take on b7, but you would be scared, right? Yes, exactly. And now, after a6, fantastic job by all of you. Very alert, yeah, all of you. Brishti, Sals, Mamba, Manannath, Gaming Sphere, Param Ahuja, Hassan Imam, Rohan Balasubramaniam, roll number 80, and Kiran Jaukar. This is the move. And after a6, I save my bishop here, and everything looks good. You know, everything's safe. I'm pawn up. And this is what I think Hikaru seems to have missed. But, guys, surprise, surprise, after knight c6, Esipenko did not go d5. He went rook fe1. Wow. This means that, okay, white still keeps an advantage because, you know, he has pressure and all of that. But now you can play b6 and just get away with these tricks here. But also b6 is not a move you want to play so easily, because let's say if I take, you have this weakened a pawn and I can just drop my queen back, and this is again a great position for Esipenko. So today Esipenko has things under control, although instead of rook fe1, if he had gone d5, that would have been amazing. Yash Mani Gupta says, do you think Esipenko might be thinking that he's missing something as Hikaru just blundered? I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult in an opening sometimes to switch from strategic thinking, ki where should my pieces belong, where should I get my rooks, to very concrete thinking that, oh, d5 and bishop a6, I'm winning a pawn. Because, see, previously in this position, he could have taken on a6. But at that point, he thought, oh, bishop h3, bishop b7, I don't like this position. He might come bishop e6, attack my queen. But now the difference is that the pawn is on d5, so there's no bishop e6. But in your head, you have already calculated bishop a6 before. So now after, you know, d4, knight c6, d5, and knight a7, your mind doesn't go into calculating it again. But there is a difference, right? Because the pawn is on d5, there will be no bishop h3 and bishop e6 back. So that's the point here. And it's true, yeah, in chess, players keep missing moves often. Okay, so rook fe1 was played. We'll come back to this game. Let's go quickly to Harikrishna's game, because he's playing against Wesley So. Oh my God, what a position here. On first look, you just have to understand, look, how to assess such a position. As Debashish yesterday said, first thing I would do always is look at king safety. So I feel that the white king is slightly safer than the black king. You know, this king here is slightly safer than this king here. Secondly, you look at the minor pieces. I think this bishop is really nice. It can go in both directions. A position is open and actually favors a piece, favors a bishop, then over a knight. Then we move on to pawn structure and we see that black has 3 pawn islands, white has just 2. So in that way, white gets a small advantage there as well. So minor piece better, king safety slightly better, pawn structure slightly better. So all in all, black is in some trouble here. And that's why the evaluation of this position is in white's favor. And Harikrishna has his task cut out to hold this to a draw. Actually, it was a Catalan. Yeah, you can't take this pawn, by the way, because of rook c8 and then you lose the rook. So knight c3, very nice move. Angling for here and here. c5, knight e2, with the idea of knight f4. Rook c8, knight f4, c4, takes, rook takes, queen d1, queen c5, take. I like this decision by Wesley, by the way. Knight e6, fe6, and then bishop f1, takes, and rook c1. You know, there was this very famous game of Garry Kasparov versus Karpov. Sorry, Karpov versus Kasparov. Let me try to pull it up for you so that we can have a look at it. Because there, something very interesting happened, which will help you to understand chess deeper. I'm just trying to look at the games and search it. The result was 1-0. Karpov had beaten Kasparov. Let's let it search for a bit. And here queen c1 has been played by Wesley So. So Wesley now is clearly looking for rook to c6, attacking this and this. Arnav Kadam says until a5 was played in Carlsen versus Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. Okay, let's go to the game while this is being searched, and I'll come back to it, to Vidit versus Vincent Keymer. And after rook b d8, so rook a d1, rook b d8, queen f3, rook d6. Vidit, I was expecting him to go h4, h5 here, but Vidit went b4. Interesting. Knight d7 could be a very logical move here, and I think it's a nice move. Knight d7, trying to exchange off the knight. I think Vidit will refrain from it and go back, but this is also a possibility. But this turns out to be a huge blunder, and my question to everyone in the chat is, why is this a mistake? How does Vidit win the game? Let's go, guys. Let's go. Come on. How does Vidit win here if Vincent plays this? It's a very natural move. Arnav says Levon is now highest rated American player. True. Notice what is hanging, guys. Don't just make a move without thinking. Notice what is hanging, what is going wrong. So the move here, and I'm going to check how many of you have found it. Let's see. Not many. Excellent. Those who have found it, well done. Rishabh Singhvi, Om Gada, account number 2, Chess is Fun, Yash Mani Gupta, Parva Dikshit, The World Around Us, Sarthak Pal Chaudhary, All Rounder, and Amit Bhuvan. Well done, guys. C5 looks the most enticing move, right? You just push the pawn and it seems like you've trapped the rook. But the rook anyway is defended by the other rook, so you can win the pawn here. It's not a good idea. The best move here is knight e4. And you might say, what's the big deal? Now the rook can move somewhere. He can even take this pawn or he can take the knight. But it does not work, because if you take the knight, then I move in with a check, king h8 here, and rook e4 with a totally devastating position here. Like it's completely over. The knight is pinned. It's all sorts of mess. In fact, a very big threat here, let's say after c5, is rook g4, but also knight g6 check. Because if you take hg6, then I have a mate, such a pretty mate. And if you take with the knight, I would take this and I'm winning. So knight e4 is the correct move. And of course, even if you take on d4 here, it will lead to a complete decimation of your king side with my knight and queen, and it's just winning. Okay, so b4, knight g6 has been played by Vincent. Vincent didn't go knight d7 to exchange. He went knight g6, which is also a nice move. He's asking with it that, would you like to trade the knights? That would give me some breathing space, because I already seem to be under some pressure. I was also wondering, guys, if can I do this? No, I cannot. Right now it's good. Okay, here's my question. If I go a6, okay, just a interesting question, and a3, do you think that you can find a move here whereby you fight for an important square in the position? Black to play. Come on. This is how you learn about weaknesses, about creating outposts, creating squares for your pieces. What does black do here? Fragnite Gaming. I'll only give shout out if you write the right answers. Come on. Yes. Very good job here. Let's have a look at few of you have seemed to got this. b5. Exactly, that is what I was looking for. Shreyas Karthik, Mamba, Avinash Pawar, Vishal Kalyan Shetty, Mistadam, Sals the Music Band, Hiren Bajaj, Anshuman Thakur, Chinmay Iyer, Manan Nath. So what happens here is that you play this move b5, and suddenly the pawn on c4 has to decide, should I take, should I push? If I push here, then he goes back, and what is the square that black has got now for his pieces? What square are we talking about here? Which square has he got in the position? Can you tell me? Yes, Arnav Kadam, Mistadam, d5 is what you have got here for your knights who can sit here forever on d5. So knight to g6, and now we will have to see what Vidit comes up with, because I think for Vidit now exchange of the knight is kind of necessary, but maybe he's played b4, so his idea could be to play b5 and put pressure here, because if you take, of course, knight b5 is just lost. Yeah, you lose material, but there's knight e5, there's knight c7, knight f3. Yeah, maybe not so clear, right? Take. I'll take d, correct. I thought rook d1, but there is knight c7, correct. So that doesn't work. So b5 can be played. And now let's say you take, I take, you take, that's kind of forced, otherwise you're in trouble. Now if I take with the rook, you take on e5. So, or maybe if I take with the knight, so that I have control here. Now you play knight d7, I play queen takes c6. Arnup Goswami, thank you so much for your super chat. B takes c6, and yeah, this position, let's say I go knight b8, I'm just trying to calculate. Maybe this is what could happen in the game as well. Knight a6. Vidit might also be calculating the same line. Knight c3. Knight c7. And rook d1. I think this is the position which Vidit has to evaluate, because his rook is coming in. He has pressure, but his pawns look a bit weak. But it looks great. So let's go back one more time. Knight g6. I go b5, forcing your hand, because okay, c5 is possible, but then the knight sits on c6, right? And I don't think you want that. But I was thinking more concretely, like take. This is a very concrete line. Take, knight d7, take. It's kind of also forcing in a way. Here, and this. After b5 by black, c5 by white. There we go. Rook d5, or would it be too? Savita Chess says in this position, b5, c5. Can we go rook d5? Yeah, I think a bit too much, because yes, I agree that you don't have open files for your rook right now, but I think white can create a break with a4. So I can go rook a1, rook b1, and then play a4, and then the rooks can penetrate via the a file. So that wouldn't be a very good exchange sacrifice, but good thinking. You should always keep in mind such ideas. Okay. Also, let's have a quick look at the B group, what's happening, because Esipenko versus Nakamura has not moved ahead. Naka thinking he's down to 30 minutes on the clock, so he has to play kind of faster. Look at this. Wojtaszek has a great position here against Oparin, which means Wojtaszek, if he wins, has great chances. Fedosiev against Rapport, we have to go and check. But look at this game. Look at the opening. Knight f3, d5, c4, d4, b4, c5, e3. It's like Benko Gambit. It's like Blumenfeld. You guys, I'll show you what the Blumenfeld Gambit is. You can try it out, in your games. d4, and check out a few games in this. It's very nice. You can start with e6. When your opponent goes knight f3, you go, not knight c3, knight f3, you go c5. And then after d5, you play b5. Amazing. Amazing move. And after, let's say, de, fe, cb, you have won a pawn, but black takes the center like this. So the same thing white is trying to do with opposite color, like black, c4 with an extra tempo. You see, Blumenfeld Gambit with an extra move. Bishop b2, e5. So something already went wrong, for white. Because black got such a nice position with the bishop blocking the pawn. So, queen e2. Yes, we will have guest today. Akira Chinua. Knight takes d4. Such a nice idea. Now, you go back. I go knight d7. This is a huge weak square here for the knight. So basically, by giving up a pawn, black is racing ahead in development. Knight c5, knight e3, bishop e6, queen d1, e4, knight d5, he took, pawn takes, bishop d7, rook c1, and right now we have this position on the board. I think Wojtaszek is going to push here with f5 with the idea of f4. So Wojtaszek has a great position. I had today I was making a video on an opening, and I will share it with you just so that you know. e4, e5. This is from black side I was trying to make. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. This is played very often, right, at many levels. knight f6, and now knight g5. And here after d5 ed, I found one very interesting move on which I wanted to actually make a video, and that is the move b5. And this is what I was working on today. I've actually done a lot of analysis, research and stuff. I want to make a good one so that you have, like, everyone knows here knight a5 is the main move, but this b5 is a little unknown idea here. And I mean, it's known, quite well known, maybe you know it already, but it's a very nice move. And actually it's not easy for white to continue, because if he takes the pawn, then I take with the queen, I attack your bishop and also the g2 pawn. So it's a very cool line. So maybe I'll release it tomorrow or day after, and you guys can then have a good weapon to surprise your opponents. It's just something very nice. You can check it out. Okay, so I think Wojciech might win this. So that is very important. And what is Fedosiev doing? Oh my god, Fedosiev has a great position against Richard Rapport as well, which means that if Fedosiev manages to convert this, then he would also be on 4 out of 6 along with Wojciech. Why is white better here is a good question to ask. Well, firstly, I think white has more space. He has the open file. Also, the queen is well positioned, putting pressure this way. Also, this bishop looks slightly out, like, and this idea, look at this, knight g5, threatening to take here. Well, if you play h6, I can go g4. Okay, this looks quite messy, to be honest, but it's good for white. But bg6, take. This position is also quite complicated, yeah. But I think somehow, guys, that Fedosiev's advantage does not look as clear as Wojciech's advantage in the other game. Okay, going back to Vidit versus Vincent. Vinayak Kumar says, Sagar, you have drawn with Fedosiev. Yes, I have. In fact, at one time, I played a game against I drew with Fedosiev in Qatar Masters first round. And at that point, when I was playing, Magnus Carlsen was also playing, and he had come to see the game as well. So it was nice. That memory is very nice. But once I had played in Aeroflot, Fedosiev's friend, Maxim Chigayev, and I had prepared very well, and the game ended in a draw. And I think most of the game was preparation. And then Fedosiev had come to me and said, your preparation was very good. And it was nice to hear that from him. And I mean, it's just a very, and then at that point, maybe he was not as strong as he is right now. He's now reached 2700 plus. Arnav asks, can we play knight g4 here? But Arnav, the main thing is that you don't want to exchange pieces. So if you go knight g4, black would be more than happy to get rid of this. And then he would play rook fd8, because it's more like, black is living in a smaller house while white is living in a bungalow right now. White has space and very nice, everything is great, stuff like that, while black is slightly cramped here. So when pieces get traded, then in the end, what's the difference between a bungalow or a house, small house, if there are only two people living, right? So here after rook d8, you will see that all of black's pieces are nicely positioned. There's pressure here, c5 is in the air, and I think I like black's position overall here. Okay, so here knight g6. We'll wait till what happens. Let's go to Harikrishna's game against Wesley So and see what's happening there. Has the position improved for Hari or has gotten worse? Rook c2, queen b6. We saw till queen c1. e5 was played. Wesley goes rook c6. I think Wesley is not going to give Dominguez any chance today because he's going to take it in his hands. He's going to win this game, and then he tells Dominguez, even if you win against Alexei Shirov, which is actually not so clear right now, but okay, Dominguez has a good position. It doesn't matter because I'll simply be a half point up. So, yes, I had to show you this game between Karpov and Kasparov. And let me do that in a bit because we have our guest who has joined in right now. Let me just invite him. Yeah, joining us is a GM. And there we have him, Grandmaster Swayams Mishra is here. Hello Swayams, how are you?
Hi Sagar, I'm good. Thank you for welcoming me here, inviting me.
Well, Swayams, it's good to see you after such a long time. Although we have been talking to each other in messages, finally able to see you, and very, very nice backdrop put up by you.
Yeah, thank you. It's really pleasure meeting you. In let's say virtually also. I have been following your videos and clips as well.
Clips. Yeah, I hope that you enjoy ChessBase India more than ChessBase India clips. Although that's not the situation for many people here.
Yeah,
But guys, I want to tell you, Swayams is one of India's grandmaster, very strong GM, and one of the recent ones. Swayams, you were, I think, number 60. What was the 68 or 62? 62. He was the 62nd Grandmaster of India. Now we have 73. And he is the second GM from Odisha. Yesterday we had Debashish here, Swayams, who's the first GM from Odisha. And Swayams is the second one. Also, he is a wonderful chess trainer now. And could we say, Swayams, that you are now a full-time chess trainer?
not exactly. I would still love to play, but due to the current pandemic situation, let's say I'm dedicating most of my time into coaching. But still, I'm learning as well and putting efforts towards my own chess as well.
Okay. But whenever I see someone achieving something, many of your students have now become titled players. So clearly, you are very effective as a trainer.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
so
glad.
many.
Okay, it worked out.
Yeah, so many of your students have become GMs. So Swayams, before we talk a bit more, let's just have a look at couple of games. Firstly, your thoughts on this game of Vidit versus Vincent Keymer. What do you think? How would you assess this?
Okay, I think I like white. White has a little more space advantage, and I can see white's last move is h4, so he wants to press along in the king side, somewhere to create some weakness with h5, h6, yeah, f6 knight especially. So yeah, I think white has upper hand, and with it probably wants to finish the tournament in a high.
Yes, I think winning would be very nice, at least from the rating perspective. But also, I believe that if Vidit draws this game, he will still finish second in his group.
Yeah, but I think only the winner qualifies, right?
Yes, yes. But you get points. So, like if you're second, you get 4 points. If you're third, you get 2 points. So, because this is the accumulation of two events, maybe
Yeah.
that 2 points could be useful.
Yeah, in the final.
Yeah.
And
So h4, and what would you think black should do? Like take on e5 or maybe rook f d8?
I would probably go rook f d8, wait for white to play h5. Then I want to play knight to e5 if I
Okay.
have to play.
Takes, and then we take.
And then rook into d1 is pretty much forced.
Yeah, take
I
here.
think rook d1, queen d1. That would lead to, let's say, an endgame where black should be able to hold. Maybe even no, queen e5 is a blunder because of queen d8 back rank checkmate.
Yes, that would be quite horrific
Yeah.
with a
I
checkmate.
think this sometimes in pressure situations, even last round, this might work out well. Yeah, I think here white can press along with f4 or maybe even somewhere knight e4, queen d6.
Hmm.
But black is very solid here. Despite being passive, I think white does not have any weakness to target.
Yeah, but as you said, yeah, like I can try and get my knight in, and
Yeah,
then could be
somewhere
that
even f6 might be a target. Like somewhere white can try to play along the king side.
h6, yes. So it's one of those positions where Vidit has a small edge, and it depends on how Vincent takes it forward. You know, if he goes rook d8, then maybe h5 is natural. He could even take it now, but then again we reach the same position this time with one pair of rooks on the board.
Yeah. And this helps white as white has more space advantage.
Hmm, hmm. But here we can't take. Yeah, this time there is no back rank
No
mate.
black rank, yeah.
So perhaps knight d1.
Yeah, knight d1, knight d7. Maybe just queen c3, queen e4 looks good. Anything.
Right. So here it seems like white still has some space.
Yeah, I think this type of position is what suits with it. It's
Hmm.
his style of play.
And he would go like f4, knight f2, knight e4. What
Yeah,
about
basically you
yeah,
have to play f5 at 6, I think, somewhere.
h5 h6, right? I think Swams, you are a very good positional player, yes?
Yeah, I prefer to play positional chess rather than calculate. As I tell, it's kind of lazy players chess.
But you know, I whenever I talk to someone, they say that if I want to improve my positional chess, I'll work with Swayams. So
That's a overstatement, I think.
sorry.
That's an overstatement, I think.
Not an overstatement, but I mean that's clearly your strength, right? So, and also with it is kind of positional player. Do you see that positional players also have like subcategories within it?
Yeah, definitely. Let's say someone like Magnus. He prefers to play position, like he prefers to play the most simplest position where he doesn't give opponent any chances at all. And he just keeps on playing those positions. Whereas some players try to play more concretely, let's say, to try to gain some advantage positionally or create some weakness positionally.
Hmm.
And I think it all depends upon deep details if we look down.
Right, right. We have a question from Rakshit here who says, why would a move like h5 be bad for black? Like maybe here? Why would
Here
such a move?
is kind of a weakness because now it's not easy to defend pawn on h5, and also at the same time somewhere knight g6 is a possibility doubling the pawns, and e6 becomes a weakness. Yes, black, if black wants to go for counterplay, black has some chances with knight g4, but if white manages to hold against this knight g4 threats, I think white should be fine. White should be even better because now white has targets g6 pawn, e6 pawn, and also I can see another square being weak, h5. Like everyone says, like especially for when you are starting chess, before every move, every pawn move, think twice because you make a weakness.
Hmm.
So g5 square becomes a weakness, g6 is a weakness.
Right. So these are quite big weaknesses in the position. And if concretely black is able to get this move, then great. But I think there are many ways for white to just, you move your queen away or knight e2 to knight f4, and white looks better here. Okay, going to Wesley versus Harikrishna game.
Okay, this seems to be more.
It looks really bad for black, yeah?
Yeah, the king is really weak.
King is weak, and also the
E5 pawn.
position just favors the bishop, right?
Yeah, the pawns, especially on d5, it can be a target. I don't think if black doesn't manage to get some counterplay, I think he should be lost pretty soon.
How would white try to win this? I mean, because see, this is weak, but it's defended. Also, d5 is
Yeah.
securely defended by the knight. You can't shake this knight away. So, how do we try to make progress here?
I see one interesting line, rook c7, but I'm not sure. Rook c7, d4,
Hmm.
and white here probably has queen c4 check.
Hmm.
Because here the trick is if you take with ed, then knight d5 is coming, and now I think white is in trouble.
Or,
Maybe.
or there's one defensive move here which I want to
Bishop
ask the
c4.
chat. No. I'll ask the
Sorry.
chat.
Sorry.
And guys,
I
you
didn't
can try. If you haven't heard what Swayam said right now by chance, then what should white do here? But yeah, this is a great idea, Swayams. But somehow there's this very nice defensive move for white. People are confused between two moves actually. And bishop c4 and queen c4, one of them is right, which is bishop to c4. Bondita, Savita, Shrey, Gigi, Learn with PV, Aryan, Harshit, Chinmay, Yashmani Gupta, and Mamta.
That's great. I think your audience is quite learned.
Yeah, they are actually
Get it?
they find tactics like very quickly. Yeah,
Thanks
maybe.
to all the videos and all doctor series, and now I think this series is going on imbalance, right?
Yeah, there was an imbalance theory is over now. We started with endgame deep dive, but we couldn't do much. There's only one session that has happened. But talking about series, I must tell the people that the latest series, which everyone's very excited for, is going to be this one here, which is called India's Got Chess Talent. And we have our final trainer here, Swayams. Swayams, thank you for, agreeing to be a part of this initiative.
Thank you, Sagar. Thank you for inviting and giving an opportunity as well.
Yes, there is going to be great fun because we'll have like 4 trainers who are, I mean, really great ones in our country, all youngsters. Swapnil from Chess Patshala, Shyam Sundar from Chess Thulir, Debashish Das, and Swayams. They do not have chess academies, they work individually with students, and there will be each coach will have specific number of students with whom they will work, and eventually their students will face off against the other students from other trainers, and it will be great fun over the next few weeks that we will have this. And I think Swayam's working with these young talents and people who we will select. I think it'll be a huge benefit to them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be beneficial for them, not just with me, let's say, even playing and getting an exposure. That's a great thing. And also, I think it will be a good learning experience for me as well, because it's something, the format is quite interesting, like normal reality show and all. So, great idea, Sagar.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's
Thank
going to
you.
be great fun. We'll start off in few days from now. So guys, we'll make some announcements very soon, but I'm very happy that we have been able to get all 4 trainers, and we'll soon begin with our live streams. Okay, so bishop c4 was the correct move. Here, queen c4. After queen c7, black is doing okay. So you start with bishop c4, and now you cannot take knight c7. It's pinned, and if you take queen c7, there is bishop d5 check, winning the queen. Uh, Swayams, what I was very impressed with in this was the decision of Wesley So here to take on e6, because generally, like in our head, it is like we have, like, the opponent has an isolated pawn. You don't want to take something and connect those pawns. Do you also think that this is a very nice move by Wesley?
I think it's interesting. Lost some games with black when my opponent took on e6. So I would say I don't have a great experience as black, and I think white has some things going on. Let's say with piece activity after that, and especially the king side, the king becomes very weak after this. Somewhere, if black is not careful enough, like I think how it's turning up in the game, white has a lot of initiative coming.
Right. So this is how this actually is going to weaken the black king. That is very important. And I was telling the chat about this game between Kasparov and Karpov that happened. And I was trying to find that game and pull it up. It was a similar concept that was played. Maybe if I can find it, then I would bring it up and show them. But before that, let's do something that I've been doing with all my guests here. And do you know this?
No, unfortunately, I did not see it. Or
Okay.
fortunately for you.
Yeah, so no, I mean, even if you knew it, it's a new thing. So what I would do is, there are 2-3 games that you know now, Harikrishna and Vidit, both the games, but there are 6 more games that are going on. I think one is drawn, so 5 more games. So I would pull up the position, and I would sort of take away the evaluation bar, and I would ask you to kind of evaluate the position. What are your thoughts? And give a number, and then we'll compare it to what the engine's evaluation is like, just to see if how a strong GM evaluates a position. Shall we do that?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. So
I'm ready.
here is the first one. We'll go to the game between Hikaru Nakamura and Esipenko, which is actually one of the most important games today, because whoever wins moves ahead.
Yeah.
So white is Esipenko, black is Hikaru. Last move was f5. What is your evaluation here?
Okay, white is better, but okay, how much? That's the most difficult part.
But why would you say white is better? Like space?
Yeah, space, and if you look at black's knight and rook, that's there. And basically, even the computer in these positions just favors white, like because of space and let's say any King's Indian structures, old Indian structures like this, it's just favors white blindly.
Would
So
you
I would say,
would you say that humanly this is kind of better, not better position, but much more easier to play as black than what the computer makes it out to be?
I think black has attacking ideas and black wants to go for counterplay. And this is where I think the engine sometimes doesn't understand attack, the psychological aspects of the game. That is what makes chess more interesting. Otherwise, chess would have been stopped after it came.
True, true. It's like when Hikaru plays f5 with that flourish of his hand, then you are like, oh, really? Is that move so strong? And you don't know. But the engine is like cold blooded, will give like huge advantage. But okay, so what is your evaluation number?
So I would say plus 1 point, maybe 1.6.
Wow. And you are actually right. It's 1.8. That's what it says. So close. And I would give it a full point. Amazing, Swayams. And so Esipenko is pushing here clearly against Hikaru, and Swayams has 1 out of 1. Amazing. Okay, let's go to the next game, which is also very important. Next one is Wojtaszek versus Oparin versus Wojtaszek.
Okay.
Crazy position.
Yeah. I'm wondering from which opening this came.
This actually came from a reversed Blumenfeld, like
44. Okay.
and he sacrificed a pawn, which was very cool. Like he went knight d4 castles and gave up a pawn, and now we reach here. This is tough.
Yes, this is definitely these positions. Engine evaluates much better than humans. These are the positions I say.
Because it's very complicated, filled with many tactical motives, unusual pawn structure.
Yeah, even material count is there. So somewhat okay. It will show white as advantage. Then it will count other factors in the game, and then probably balance it out. I think it would be around something around 0, but plus 0 or minus 0. I'm just wondering.
Okay, so you're saying that it's like slightly better for white or slightly better for black?
Yeah, less than that, somewhat around that.
Okay, but for whom? Where
That-
is your mind tending towards?
Yeah. Okay, I would prefer to play white in this position.
Really?
Yeah, but I know black's position is good, but I would love to play as white. I feel black is
How does that make sense? Because you know that black is better, then you should prefer black, right?
defending, and if I'm a pawn ahead and I can defend, I think I'm happy with that. I'll go ahead with that.
But let's say
okay.
I get f5, f4 next.
Yeah.
Isn't that dangerous?
It seems dangerous. I would give like that's what I think. Black is slightly better, but I think white has somewhere knight c4 as well. So even after f4, I'm not sure what exactly it's going. And also, I thought of an interesting idea. If I can get my king to b1 instead of moving my pieces in the king side.
Oh, so you don't even. I was all the time thinking bishop e2 and castle. Let's do it quickly. But then it's like this bishop
Black
here.
is already ready with this.
Yeah. He's ready
so
to.
Somehow we can trick our opponent if we somehow manage it. But I'm not sure if we can manage it.
Maybe what you are saying is like queen here, and then try to get the king out like this.
Yeah, if white manages.
Okay.
But yeah, I think black should be better, somewhat 0.4 minus 0.4.
Okay. So here the evaluation is minus 1.4.
Wow, that's
actually huge, yeah.
Yeah.
But as you said, your assessment actually makes it interesting from the fact that perhaps Oparin also thinks that his position is not so bad right now. I mean, when we look at just like this, we feel like, oh, I mean, this looks horrible for black.
Chess is so easy with bars.
Chess is that is true. That is true. But let's see. I mean, this game. So, would you say that this position? Just keep this in mind, and let's go to the next, because this is the B pool that we are looking at, and go to the other game of B pool, because it's very important to see Fedosiev and Rapport also, because Fedosiev is on 3 points.
This is the most interesting group, I think.
Yes. 3 points for Fedosiev, 3 for Wojtaszek, 2.5 for Rapport. So
okay, black is better, definitely. White has somehow managed to mishandle the position.
So you think black is better here?
Yeah, I don't like white queen on a3, and white's pieces, basically black's pieces, look much better. Yeah, but white has some ideas with e4. That's what white is looking for, I guess.
E4, and then this E6 could become weak.
e6 or somewhere around the queen side, king side with bishop e4, knight g5.
Got it.
Okay, this is difficult.
Well, we are not going to hold you
Yeah.
to hold
I'm
you
glad
on.
I'm not playing a tournament where you get rating points or something by guessing these evaluations.
Exactly.
Okay, I would go with minus 0.5.
Minus 0.5. Okay, very interesting. Right now, the engine says it's equal, this
I was
position.
wondering that computer would show some forcing draw line or not.
I don't know if it is a draw, but like, what move do you think Black would play here? Like, maybe stopping e4 with knight f6?
Maybe knight f6. Yeah. But knight f6 allows the queen to somewhere come
Queen
back.
c3 and back to the game, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
But after e4, if white is really good, then probably, I don't know, maybe b4, but again queen a4 and queen comes back into the game.
right, right. So maybe it's one of those positions where Black's position looks nice, but somehow he doesn't have a very concrete plan to do something.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is around equal, which means Wojciech now has a clear chance. And you know, Swams, it was like at this point it seemed like a huge advantage was given to White here if he found this move knight g5. But I didn't understand, like, I mean, if it was really so big. Maybe e4 and some pressure.
But this is much better than the game. Like black's light square bishop was dominating in the game.
Yes, yes. Somehow this bishop, which was offside, came right into the game here from
Bishop
e2.
here, and then
Oh,
okay, these bars are crazy.
man, it shows winning, totally winning for White. Okay, I'll ask the chat also, guys. Try to think what was the move that Fedosiev missed here.
I should also trust the chat.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What would be your answer here?
I think maybe e4 is. I think if the bar is so high, it must be e4. Something tactically going on after that.
Well, you and the chat are absolutely right. E4 is the move. Shreyas, Chess is Fun, Rishabh, Raj. Well, a lot of people wanted to play F3. It's actually turning into one of the top moves here, F3. But that's not the right move, guys. Kajori, Siddharth, Mahish, Chess is more than fun. Aditya Lakhe, and Chess is great. F3 doesn't work, yeah, here. I mean,
F3 probably they want to trap the bishop. But
yes.
I think black always has b4.
b4 and then e3 pawn hangs, so that won't be good. Here e4, the point is that after you take, I take with my knight, and now this bishop here, the knight jumping here, the queen moving in here. It's in a way surprising, yeah, that he didn't find e4, because it solves all his problems, like the queen being offside and all of it.
Yeah, maybe probably missed something that, or maybe miscalculated that he might lose on d4. Maybe instead of fe, maybe black starts with b4 first.
B4. But then, like, we switch.
Yeah, and here queen into d4. Probably start with d4. This is something probably would have missed some. Yeah. Now if you take queen d2,
Aha, this is what he might have missed, right? And I mean,
Looks
here he has to play his move, and it's right. It's
absolutely.
could be you could miss it.
Yeah. Because after rook c7 also, I don't see anything very forcing. But maybe queen b2, d into e6 might work here.
Yes, and then take this here, king h2, queen b2 again, and
Just
knight
knight.
f5. And I think for engines this is very straightforward. They give like +7 +8, but for us humans it's like, oh my god, piece down, mate hoga ki nahi. We start getting very tensed.
That's true.
Okay, so this is great. Let's just a small update on Vidit game versus Vincent, because we were looking after h4, and very surprising move by Vincent was knight e7, because he's like he has to exchange pieces, but here he is kind of avoiding trades.
But okay, exchanging allows the d file. So there is a game of Karpov versus Lautier.
Oh
Uh,
yes, beautiful game.
exactly what happened on the d file. But okay, there was a bad bishop, but again, d file was the most important thing throughout the game.
And let me pull up that game, because I also wanted to show them Karpov versus Kasparov, but I'll do that later. This Karpov Lautier game was amazing, and guys, you can see how Swayams remembers certain important games, and then he's able to gauge the position based on them. Swayams, what would be a good way to remember such important games?
Uh, I believe pattern recognition plays a huge role in uh, our development of especially positional chess. So, somewhat, if you remember the patterns, of course, it's impossible to remember by heart. But if you observe the things and understand why the things are played, and after each game, after you see each game, you try to take up some summary what you learned from the game. Then I think it's going to be very useful, and subconsciously it's going to be stored in your mind, and you can recall some ideas at least.
Hmm. So you would say that whenever you see a good game, it would make sense to make a note of what you have learned from it, or the themes that you have learned from it.
Yeah, that's a great idea to start with.
Okay. Okay, just trying to look at those games but meanwhile, one more position is left. So I will. It is in A group. It's not a important game, because from the perspective of qualification, Grishchuk and Bakro don't have a chance, but still, always interesting to watch Grishchuk playing chess. What do you think here?
This position, okay. Yeah, Grishuk is better in commentary than here, right? Commentary or post-match interviews.
Yeah,
He's,
he's tremendous. Uh, Always makes everyone laugh.
yeah. Yeah, even I watched a video with Nakamura
Which
where
one?
he was in this tournament where he was playing against Nakamura and he was telling, okay, I calculated this
Ah,
three
yes, yes,
lines.
yes, yes, yes. Exactly. By the way, I have found this amazing game of Karpov Lautier. So
Okay, Sagar, I have the game of Kasparov Karpov. I
hi,
think this.
you have it. So here, oh man, this was last move was Rook G5, and he played Queen B6. So
Something huge has happened, of course, from your expression.
yes, I was like, what? I mean, the bar just shifted, but I don't know exactly what was happening.
And I
But
don't know anything at all.
yeah, Wow. Insane tactics. Yeah, chess is fun. That was an amazing tactic, actually.
Okay, I think going.
Sorry,
Yeah.
your voice is breaking. Sorry.
Okay, Sagar, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So going back, I'm huge here because I don't see black doing anything. So I don't know what exactly. Maybe bishop e6 or knight d5, something
No,
to go
actually, the
with.
point is that here there is nothing. But what would you say? Like this around, what would be your assessment?
Be around equal only.
Around equal.
Yeah, but white
Y-
would be preferable any day.
You are actually right. The position is equal. But the interesting part was that when he went rook g5, it was totally winning for black.
Okay, now you can ask the chat, not me.
Yes. Guys, what is the move here that back row missed? And I think it's a crazy move. So as a trainer, do you like kind of collect positions and make like training databases and stuff like that?
Yeah, I do like.
So maybe this position could come in some kind of your training database, yeah, because it looks too good.
I'm still wondering what is there. I'm just clueless.
Yeah, it's not easy, and I think, but the chat is like super quick.
Yeah, that's why I always say trust your chat.
Trust the chat, and everyone's like 94, but no one cares about their queen. 94 is right, and the right move was given by Shreyas Karthik. Chess is fun, account number 2. Chess is more than fun. Madhav Menon, Chess Blaster, Aditya Lakhe, Mamba, Bondita, and Arjun um,
Oh,
takes
and then what? This is, I think, the most critical thing.
and
Ah,
takes
oh, and then bishop f3. No,
take here and
takes
take this.
c1.
So now basically there is a back rank issue. So you have to move the queen, but you have to control this. So you have c1, e2, and e1, right? Three squares. If you go to c1, then after take
Look at
rook h2 with a forced rook h1. There's no way to stop this. If you play bishop c4, there is rook
I think
h.
rook h1 and bishop g2.
Right, absolutely. And you're gone. Game over. And
Now, this is really difficult. I think even these players, top players, both of these players, I think they would definitely. If you tell them in after the game, they would be really shocked.
yeah, I think Grishchuk will be like, oh, why do I do not see it? He would be like totally shocked there. But if you would tell them that something's happening here, they would spot that, I guess.
Yeah, this rook h2, rook h1 in the end was nice. Because I
Take.
was looking with rook d8 and it doesn't work. Rook d8, c4, it doesn't work out.
Ah, you mean like take here, and then going this way.
Rook d8 and all. But okay, queen e2 is there as well.
Yeah. No, this is
Yeah, this
an
is great.
amazing position. Okay, so that's how it was, and I think Vidit has a very, very solid edge now with queenside pawns moving forward, putting pressure. And meanwhile, Wesley So and Harikrishna game. In some way, Harikrishna. Yeah, there are threats of like rook f6 and stuff, but Harikrishna now moves in with his queen to g4, and maybe his idea is h5 h4.
Yeah, but I think black's counter, like black's pieces are just stuck. So somewhere he has to play along the f file or around opponent's king, looking for counterplay. Because positionally, this just looks so bad for black. Like white, if you give white time, I think white can go ahead and rook c7 and maybe just keep on improving the pieces. So somewhere this threat of queen d1, queen f3 perpetual uh, might save the game as well.
Right. Cool. And so I'm just I wanted to show that game of Karpov versus Lottier, and maybe you could tell us what was the key point of this game that makes you remember this game for.
I think there are a lot of key points in this game, no? Lots and lots of. But okay, let's go on.
So all standard stuff in the opening. Take. He took.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the same
Yes.
concept, right? And this.
And now he starts with bishop f3, so making sure black does not get to play c5.
Right. So if c5, then this would hang. So Lottier said, "Okay, I'm going back and I will play c5." But Karpov was like, "Rook. No, not easy." Still, he did this, and
In
now.
fact, this position I had given this position to a lot of students, and the first reaction they had, many of them had, was to play c5. But then c5 allows black to play rook d5. Somewhere rook d5, and now black will get control over the d file as well.
Correct. So take rook d1. This is a very nice
This
move.
is just really good.
Take queen d8, and he just cuts this bishop off.
Yeah.
And
again, b3 b4 was another strong point. So he wants to play b5 here. So he cannot play b4 in one move, so he plays b3. And once queen a2 is taken, now b4 threatening b5.
Amazing. Check, and then he played queen d4, queen c8, c5.
So now the bishop is blocked forever. And basically, white is a pawn down in the same game, and later on, even the queens were traded.
He did this. Oh, nice. King comes from here.
Black was really helpless.
These are games which make you believe that, like what a great player Karpov was.
Yeah.
Amazing game. And guys, please study it carefully. And I think sometimes you might have seen it like maybe 15 years ago or something, and you still remember it, right?
I saw this probably last month as well.
You keep on giving it to your students.
Yeah. Like some games are too nice just to skip this. So like this like for a classical, like for a positional player, I think this contain a lot of concepts about piece exchanges, about prophylaxis, and let's say going into endgame. Like just a pawn down and you are ready to go into endgame. Especially a lot of players would think, I'm a pawn down, should I go into endgames or not? It should not. But yeah, throughout this was an amazing game by Karpov, and I think yeah, many others as well. But this is one of my favorite games.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing it. And Soyams, you've been here for like 45 minutes, but so many things. Oh my God, look at this. Wesley and Harikrishna. It seems like Hari's back.
Queen D1 check, and
Oh, draw?
yeah, I think Wesley is leading the tournament, right? Probably he's happy with the draw.
But the main issue is that if Dominguez beats Shirov, then it's like a tie.
But what are the tiebreak rules again?
I think if you are on same score, you have to play a tie break tomorrow.
Okay, not the individual matches.
Yes, and they drew both, so even that
No, I
is.
think
Oh no,
so. One.
Wesley beat Dominguez, but I believe it's like if you're on, there is a day reserved for the tie break.
Yeah, but still, this is not clear. Rook B1, there is Queen A6 as well.
Yeah. So it's not like there is a direct way to draw, but Queen A6, and maybe it's just that everything is tied up, right? So perhaps we try to.
The Queen has nowhere to go in the diagonal.
Yeah. Oh, Hari, actually saving this game is a big thing. I mean, I thought that Wesley would convert it without too many difficulties, but that's the nature of chess, guys. It's always very difficult to win a one game. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Vidit starts to play this game. I mean, okay, it's like Karpov Lotier without the light squared bishop.
No, I think this is very different. I think a lot of games we can find with H4, H5 ideas.
Right.
Quite.
No, this of course now at 6 coming in is a big problem. So he might go at 6 himself.
Maybe later on, White can go G4, G5 as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, White has a very comfortable game, and I don't think Black just needs to keep defending, and it's not very easy to defend these type of position with pressure, and there's a possibility you can miss one tactics and blunder easily.
Hmm. And by the way, Nakamura seems to be in big trouble because we left it at Queen E3, takes
Yeah,
F5,
we left it after F5. Yeah,
and then after Bishop D3, Nakamura went Queen F6, take.
not F4.
Yeah, I guess he could have pushed here, right? F4.
Yeah, I think if Black wants to try F4, should be the only way. F4, maybe G4, but is it coming?
G5, maybe he didn't like this knight H2, Bishop E2, some blockade on
Yeah,
light squares.
yeah, maybe Black is just in time. H5, White is in time. H5, Bishop E2, Queen F7, and Queen D1.
Nice. You can't go
Black
G4 yet. And this is, yeah, if he could get G4 in time, then Black would have been maybe getting play, but he couldn't. So that's why played Queen F6, takes, knight, knight
Just
D4.
94. No, I think even without 94, White should be better. But okay, 94 and F4, I think. Yeah, Knight stays on E6 and White just opens up the
He
position.
should have gone knight E6, but Esipenko played F4, which gives Nakamura a very nice chance here to fight back. And so, guys, here is your question: Black to play. What should Nakamura have played here to fight back? Actually, he didn't find the move. He in fact blundered here, which shows how tough the position is. Yes, Hari has equalized, guys, and Vidit, just as you said, has gone G4 in his game. So he's going for an attack there.
Yeah.
But Swam,
And
what would you play here?
I saw the chat.
Ah,
The chat is like my bar.
chat guides you. Mistadam, Ayush, Savita, Chess is fun. Account number 2, Shivank, Arnav, Saksham call, Ashok, and Mamba.
But I think it was possible to find knight b6.
Yes, yes. I think overall Nakamura is not playing at his best today. He's missing a lot of moves, and knight b6 would have, because then it connects the rooks, and now ed4 is possible if you take ed4 and black is back in the game. But he went c6, and now okay, it's still maybe. What about d takes c6? I don't know.
Queen takes c4.
Okay.
But rook c1, queen b2, sorry, queen b4 and c7 probably.
And this position, maybe the engine says it's totally winning for white, but again, it's not so clear to human beings.
White is much way better, but maybe rook b1, rook b7 is one way to play.
Mm.
Queen into a5.
Yeah, this could be one way to continue the game, but we'll see. I think Esipenko is in he can win and he can actually top finish at the top. But Swayams, thank you for joining in. It was very nice analyzing with you, looking through the games. Also, I'm very much looking forward to training with you, to you training other people at India's Got Chess Talent. So thanks once again. Yeah, it's going to be great fun.
Thank you very much, Saga, for inviting me. It was really fun. And yeah, it was especially me being a student and you asking question was something different for me over these years.
Yes, and also chat being your ally in telling you the answers. So was very cool, and I look forward to having you back on stream very soon.
Sure, sure, Saga.
Take care.
Nice meeting.
Bye.
Bye, Saga.
Guys, that was Swayams Mishra all the way from Odisha here, and this is how we have now India's Got Chess Talent trainers, and very excited for it. And I hope that you guys also are, because even if you are not selected, you will learn a lot from these wonderful trainers. You can actually put yourself in the shoes of the participants and learn from that. So I hope that you guys are also very, very much looking forward to it. Let me quickly now cover all the games and give you an idea. I mean, we have been doing it, but just to let you know what has happened. Aha, Swayams is here, and let me make him a mod. He says, "Thank you, everyone. Had a nice time, and thanks for the moves always." Swayams, such a down to earth, such a wonderful guy. Guys, so many. I write so many social media posts, so many articles, so many players I meet, and so many of them have trained with him and have gone on to become very, very strong players. So he's such a powerful trainer. Also, you could see how he could recollect some of the games, tell the key moments there, and I think it's amazing. Okay, let's go to Vidit's game and see what's happening there. So many of you said that Vidit blundered. I wouldn't say blunder. I mean, look, the moves that kept his advantage were moves like rook e2 or rook a1, stuff like that. However, what Vidit did is he went g4. Now, this is a very logical move in a way where you are trying to attack and break open the king side. But Vincent says that Vidit, your timing is slightly wrong now, because what I can do is I can go knight d7. So now the question is, what happens if I go rook e2 and then anyway he goes knight d7? The maybe the difference is that you have the g4 square for your knight to avoid the trade, or you have knight e4 here, and here the difference is that after rook d4, knight e5, in this line there is no pawn on g4 to be attacked. So there are these little subtleties. So now let's say when Vidit goes g4 and in the game instead of rook e2, knight d7, and I go knight e4, all of a sudden, okay, rook d4, knight e5 is one option, but there white is maybe okay, but knight e5, still a bit confused here. Knight e5. Rook e2. Oh, actually g4 is not the main point. Is that after knight d6, knight e f3, the rook is on e2, I can take on c8. That is the key point. Yeah, rook e2 ka. That's too deep, guys. Too deep to understand. Rook e2. Now knight d7, knight e4, knight e5, knight d6, knight f3, knight c8, and अब knight e1 नहीं मर रहा है. So very deep point actually. So Vidit takes on c6, knight takes c6. B takes c6. And now this would be a blunder. Can you tell me why? White to play. Why is this a blunder? Of course, Vincent takes with the rook, not with the queen, which is the best move. But why is this a blunder? No, I think Mega, it would be two knights for a rook there. Yes, knight e4 is the correct move. Well done, guys. Rakshit, chess is fun. Chinmay, Savita, Arnav, Bondita, Vivek, Yashmani, Siddhant, and chess is more than fun. Well done, guys. The move is knight e4 and the rook is trapped very weirdly. So that does not work here. So took with the rook, and now with it instantly went knight b5. And he's if he takes here, he's ready to give a fork. But you know, guys, ये position not so simple. Like I take, go here, you take, and if black can just somehow put his knight on d5, black could be okay here. But maybe with it goes d5. So, oh, he doesn't take, he plays queen to b7. I still feel Vidit has good chances here. Knight d6 coming in. And you can't take the knight because queen would hang. And also d5 is threatened. So I think Going back to Esipenko versus Nakamura, after c6, Esipenko has taken the e pawn. If d, he will go knight e6. If rook e5, he will play queen moves away to g3. So better for him. Meanwhile, Grishuk seems to have a nice position here. Grishuk tactic was just amazing. You know, it's just phenomenal. I'll perhaps make some video out of it or something. Wesley So versus Pentala Harikrishna after check. b1, queen a6, h5, rook b6 has happened. And I think what Hari should do, guys, can you tell me, should Hari exchange the rook or not exchange? Right? Exchange or not exchange? What do you think? Not exchange, not very good, guys. Everyone has said not exchange. Why? Because for the very simple reason that your rook is more active than your opponent's rook. I mean, it's doing much more. It's keeping this under pressure. It's keeping the queen tied down. If you were to take, then after queen b6, queen a4, this is also possible because you are getting back I mean, if you didn't get back this pawn, then of course it made no sense to exchange, but could be that exchange is not a bad idea here because you're getting a pawn. But you could also go rook a1, a5 and try to play this. I'm not so sure. Like, let's say king h7, queen b5, knight g4. And then maybe knight f2, and there's like a mating attack brewing up here. Okay, let's go back to Vidit's game. No, maybe some chances for Hari as well soon coming up. d5 definitely is a move because if you take, I take, I attack your rook. Where does the rook go? Rook f6. You know, if the queen moves away, there could be some problems down this diagonal. Queen g3, knight c5. Yeah, it's getting quite complex. And also, if you see here, 31 moves. Vidit has 12 minutes to make 9 moves. Vincent has 15 minutes. I really like this move d5 here for Vidit. It looks very direct. The other possibility, yeah, I think he goes knight d6, but I think this is more like a repetition because after queen c7, Vidit has to go back. You know, there's no other move. So maybe they'll repeat twice for Vidit. Also, he'll gain time and then he'll play d5. Oparin versus Wojtaszek. Oh, look, guys, Swayams was right. The position has equalized. We were looking at the position being totally worse, but taking here was a wrong decision. F4 was the move. Chess is so tough, man. Rook c5, queen b3. He just exchanged down, but has more pawns. So Oparin is back in the game. And Fedosiev versus this rapport also looks like ending in a draw. Yeah, they've repeated once. I don't think Vidit will repeat. He will push d5. It's clear that he is better. There are many ways, to for him to push like rook a1. Also, oh, guys, Wesley So has forced a draw. Wesley So has like, okay, I don't know, and I'll kind of force a draw now because King g7 check, King g8 check. They drew. They drew. Wow. Kudos to Harikrishna for holding this to a draw. He was totally busted at some point, but he managed to hold a draw, which is a massive result. Dominguez versus Shirov. Ooh, Dominguez has a good position. Guys, what is the tie break? Rakshit has another idea here. Do you know tie breaks that if they end at an equal score, is it first mutual encounter or just check it? It's taken on h3, which is correct. So now c7 is also hanging. They'll play rapid, right? They play each other, right? So the direct encounter does not count, which means that in D group, in C group, we already have Aronian. In D group, we will have uh, Wesley versus Dominguez. And in B group, we'll have, I think, most likely Wojtaszek versus Fedosiev. And in A group, we'll have Esipenko actually. Maybe beating Nakamura here and going through. So direct play. But this one, I mean, Esipenko's game, if you see, he's just pushed his pawn to e6. He's attacking the queen. The queen has to move somewhere. Let's say it goes here. I take cd5. I mean, you've got everything going for you. Yeah, the only thing is how to defend this pawn now. Rook c1, knight d5, queen b3, knight d7, rook c7. Okay, it's not so clear, guys. I mean, the main thing is that human beings just cannot give up a pawn easily. So after queen g6, I don't know if Esipenko will take cd5 because he's losing a pawn after knight e7. See, like queen g6, cd5, knight e7, queen b3, rook bc8. Black is still having some fighting chances here. Going back to Vidit versus Vidit was rook a1. I think Rakshit's idea was d5 takes and rook e7. But maybe here rook e6 is the only defensive move, which is very nice. So now this is blocked and you are forced to kind of trade, which opens up this rook. So rook e6 is very good. With it goes rook a1. Clearly seeing that you cannot take here, this is hanging. It's pressing here. The idea is rook a7. Savita says it feels so bad to lose to a player against which you have won and released a video. Well, that's the nature of chess, right? Yeah, well, of course, Nakamura might feel bad, but as he's always maintained that for him, chess is now more like a not as professional as before. I mean, not as important, because it was a nice thing which he said, that when chess was really important for him, he always had trouble with Grishchuk. And Grishchuk would beat him at critical moments and take away his chance of qualifying to the candidates. While now, when it doesn't matter so much, he beat Grishchuk and actually took the candidate spot from him. I mean, not really taken yet, but sort of. So knight f6, rook e5 has been played. You can't take here, because you don't have a good disco. Like, you can take on c4, but then my queen can come back, I can move away. So I'm unable to see how Vidit is better. Knight f6, g5, no, g5 takes, okay, 7, queen c8, maybe h6. Wow, that was an interesting line actually. G5, hg, and h6. But here maybe g4 attacks the queen and then unleashes some kind of a disco. So that's why after, I mean, you could start off with rook a7, queen c8, g5, hg, h6. That seems like the way to go. But Vidit actually went rook e5 here. And Vincent is taking his time here. He has 11 minutes, 36 seconds. 35 moves have been completed. 5 more moves to make before 40 moves. Vidit has 10 minutes, 32 seconds. Okay, Grishuk versus back row is around equal, although white seems to be putting pressure on black. Andre Esipenko versus Nakamura. Queen g6 has been played. And now it's not clear as to how Esipenko continues. He goes rook e1. Maybe not the accurate move. What about d takes c4 now? What's his plan after rook f1? Rook f7. 97, yeah. Rook a f1. And Esipenko has some great pieces in the position, but it's not so clear how he can make progress. Let's say Nakamura goes queen g5, offering a queen trade, and yeah, maybe Nakamura can come back in the game here. If he holds, he's the one who's going through. He's not going to give up. Parin versus Wojtaszek. This one's going down to a draw, it seems, around equal for now. T5, two central strong pawns. Fedosiev versus Richard Rapport. Equal. Queen c6, queen takes, rook takes. And then maybe f4. Black is in with some chances. I mean, white is also, it should be equal. Oh, totally winning position for Dominguez against Shirov. I think for Harikrishna, the major issue was that he couldn't win any games. He had 6 draws in this tournament, but he had to beat Shirov at least. Six draws out of 6 games, not a bad result for Harikrishna actually. Rook e5 has been played. How should we continue is the question. If I go queen c8, knight a7 is a fork. Actually, black does not have too many moves, yeah? Rook a7 is a threat, g5 followed by h6 is a threat. So if we look at the engine, we will find that, oh, knight h7 is a move. But if you just think over the position, rook a7, g5 takes, h6, d5, there are too many options. No, rook a8 does not look great because firstly, I mean, I can take and then try for this g5 ideas, but even much better is to go knight d6. And now the problem is that if you take here, I'll take your queen. Can't take my knight because I'll take your queen. So you have to play queen b8, and then I can take, and rook b5 with a winning position to white. White is planning to take here, also threat here, so the knight cannot move. This is pinned, so white is in the better position here. I think Vidit would be able to win this because Vincent doesn't have enough time to think through. Lemon and Dubov actually drew very quickly today. The draw, they played the knight off. They drew this one. She's gone knight at 7. Good move. Good move by Vincent. The knight at 7, the idea is knight g5 here. But can we go knight a7, rook c7, take here, and play this endgame? Maybe. But I think black has enough resources here with rook d7, rook c8, put pressure here. Hari did lose to Dominguez, correct. Sorry. He didn't have 6 draws. He had 5 draws and 1 loss. So 2.5. Rohit Rajendra, I hear you. That I should stream even if they are not there. I'll just see. Also, I'll try to see if I can stream, but most likely I'll try to do other things, other streams, and get ready for the next Grand Prix, which will start soon. Now, knight at 7. Vidit has 8 minutes to play here. So Nakamura's game, let's go. Oof. He goes knight e7. That's what happened. Knight e7, rook f7, d takes. Oh, this happened. Rook f1 and king h8. Wow. Hikaru Nakamura is saying to his opponent that, look, even though I'm not playing, I will win this, go to the semifinals, and yeah, I like how Nakamura said yesterday that one stream is not going to change his life, while doing well here means a lot to him. So he didn't play, I think, the title Tuesday yesterday. Vidit's game has moved forward a bit. Queens have been traded actually. How did that happen? So after rook e5, knight h7, Vidit went knight a7, rook c7, took, and knight e5. CF versus Rapport. Yeah, maybe it's not so easy for white to break through and also for black. So they might agree to a draw. And Oparin versus Wojtaszek. Wow, Oparin is taking over. That would be quite a surprise if Oparin starts to win this. Then that would mean Fedosiev doesn't need to win. A draw would be enough to move ahead. It's big change. Let's go to Esipenko's game against Nakamura. After king h8, I think for Esipenko, it's like, oh, I am now a pawn down in the position. Though I know that uh, I have my chances, but how? Guys, just a second. Yeah, I'll be back. He goes rook f3. 9 more moves to make for Esipenko in 52 seconds. He goes rook f3. He wants to play rook to g3. He wants to put pressure on g7. Well, now Nakamura has to find the only move in this position. Guys, what is the only move for black to stay in the game? What is the only move? Otherwise, he would lose. Rahul Agarwal. Very good. Chess is fun. Pratik Kamble. Praful Sharma. Sarthak Pal Chaudhary. Savita Chess. Narendra Pandey. Nikhil Sharma. Chinmay Vatwe. Santa Roy. Kapil Bagaria. Gaurang Sharma. Knight d5. Correct. And after queen f2, now once again, it's decision time because this is not hanging. Also threatening rook g3 now. But you go queen e4. Really go active. Rook g3, try to defend. Wow, it's not going to be easy because Nakamura's position is tough, but Esipenko has low time. So quickly, let's go and check what Vidit is doing against Vincent. After queen takes b7, rook b7, knight b5, knight f6, f3, rook d8. So Vidit is better for sure because he has these central pawns. Black has a weakness here. He's more active, but these pawns which are actually good could also become weaknesses. Last move left for Vidit. So they have actually managed their time really well. And big news coming in that Dominguez has actually beaten Shirov. Which means that tomorrow we'll have a tie-break game between Wesley So and Dominguez to take on whoever wins takes on Levon Aronian. Vidit Gujrathi versus Vincent Keymer going on. Fedosiev Rapport have reached 40 moves. Oparin versus Wojtaszek. It's like, it's crazy how tide has changed. And now it's Oparin who is better. So actually, Fedosiev just needs a draw. If he draws, he's through. Because it might be that Wojtaszek loses this. Let's look at Nakamura. Oh, he goes knight c6. He blunders. I think he missed that after rook e6. There's this move queen b6. And you can't take because rook is hanging. So he took back e7. Game over. Check. You take and make a queen. If you take king h7, I take, and then I get my rook to f8. It's over, guys. Esipenko is going to make it. Huge blunder. Knight c6 was a big mistake. Knight d5, and he was still fighting. Now Nakamura has 3 minutes. He would be very angry with himself. 6 minutes to 6 moves to make. Rook f8 check is on the cards. Let's say you d5. Check. He plays king h7. Rahul Agarwal says Nakamura had time. Could he have thought more? It's true, but there's too much pressure on him throughout the game. And he just made a mistake at the most critical moment. And now Esipenko should keep his calm. Okay, rook f8 seems very logical. Santa Roy says, Sagarbai, today why are you so tired? I have no clue. I'm just figuring out my stuff that is happening with me. Queen f4, good move. Just that I'm not, maybe it's the COVID or something. d5. Can we sack here? Take, and rook f8. Then no, but he goes rook e8 back. Okay, let's not do something stupid. d5, just rook g3. That's why he played queen f4. You see, you want to play rook g3 here, here. In this position, e7, king h7, and now queen f4. So if you go rook g3 here, then your f7 rook is hanging. But you first play queen f4 defending this and now preparing rook g3. Okay, Vidit has made it to move 40. He's brought his king in. Vincent has 1 minute to make his 40th move. Let's stick with Nakamura versus Esipenko game, because after queen f4, I think Hikaru must be shaking his head. He would be livid with himself. Can you go rook g8 to defend the g7 pawn? Now the problem is you don't even have to go rook g3, which, I mean, in a way is what you prepared against. You can go rook f8 with the idea of take, and maybe even going queen f8 next. Let's see what Nakamura comes up with. He has 1 minute and he has 5 moves to make. But making number of moves is not a problem. It's just that your position is totally lost. Shiv Shom says, just a query: if VD draws, then will the points be split between him and Dubov, or tie breaks? I don't think there will be tie breaks, right? For the second spot, only tie breaks for first one, I believe. But yeah, maybe chat can help answer that. Rishabh Singhvi says Dubov and Vidit will share 3 points each in case of a tie. But still, Vidit has good chances to win. Now my Nakamura is down to 10 seconds, guys. It's just very little time. And he goes rook g8. That's the best move here. Esipenko can be totally brutal and take the c4 pawn. And say to black that you have nothing to do against my far advanced pawn. Twitter will explode. I don't know what's going to happen. Rook g3, queen e6. Rook g3 wasn't the best. Queen c4 was better, or some other move. Now, let's see. How do you continue? You want to put pressure here on g7, but queen d4 loses to queen f7. Maybe rook e3 back. Goes rook e3, queen g6. Okay. But now you can't. Can you take c4? I think so, yeah. It defends the rook. It's 37th move. Both players down to 1 minute with 3 more moves to make. It's not so easy to figure out how to win this. Rook f8 has been played, hoping that his opponent makes a mistake and that he can actually go in and make a queen. But black has a very strong defensive move with rook e8. if Nakamura plays that, it will make Esipenko's task even more difficult to win. And that's exactly what he wants. So rook e8. He plays it. Now Esipenko has to decide how to move forward here. Takes on g8. I think king takes is better. And now, out of maybe queen c4, queen f7. Look at this. Check. Queen f7, queen c4, queen c6, rook e7, and black is doing quite well. So queen c4 may be the best move, but after queen f7, queen e4, and white is still having his better position. Check. Good move by Esipenko. Last, 40 moves have been completed. Queen c4, queen f7, and now Esipenko can take his time, get the half an hour, unwind and relax, and then get ready for the next phase of the game, because beating a player like Nakamura is not easy. After this, knight e8 was played. We to just play knight d6 and exchange the knights. Let's go back to Esipenko game and see what has happened. Yeah, he's taken on c4 and queen f7. 40 moves completed. Been taking here on c4, a6. So I think Esipenko should take this pawn when he has good chances in the endgame. Okay, guys, this is going to be a long night. Yeah, it seems. I'm just simply running out of energy here. Grishchuk is actually better against Pakro. I think Esipenko will beat Nakamura. It seems so. Oparin and Wojtaszek drew. Queen c6. Fedosiev rapport looks choice. Vidit versus Dubov. Vidit has pushed his. Sorry, Vidit versus Keymer. Vidit has just pushed his pawn to d5. Let's say I take, you take. Yeah. What is the way in which white will break through? Not so clear. Aronian Dubov drew. Dominguez beat Shirov and Wesley So drew with Harikrishna. Yeah, guys, I'll just take your leave. I'm not feeling so well, and I'll take some rest, and hopefully, Vidit will convert this. Let's see what will happen in the game of Esipenko and Nakamura. Will also, I think Esipenko should be able to convert this, and I'll see you all later tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye bye.